Welcome back to Be a GM Mode, brought to you by Stick the Model. Let me share my screen here today. Today, we're going to do the 2026 offseason for the New Orleans Saints, who sit in a pretty interesting spot with negative $8 million worth of cap space. So probably the first thing that we're going to be focusing on doing here is restructuring some of these bigger contracts. I don't know if there's anybody that they are going to be able to cut to allow themselves to have more cap space. I don't think that there's any big contracts. And then there's some big needs on this roster because they're really in an interesting spot. They've never rebuilt after the Sean Payton era into the Dennis Allen era. And now they're into the Kellen Moore era where it feels like they got the right coach. He's a good coach, and it seems like they might have something at quarterback. I don't want to plant the flag on Tyler Shough yet, but he's going to at least be the quarterback for next year. It looks like they've shored up this offensive line over the past few drafts, but big needs: running back, wide receiver, edge, and secondary. I don't know if I'm expecting this team to take a step next year. Is it a possibility? Always, I guess. But let's get into this. Let's first start with seeing if there's any way that we could cut some players that will give us some cap space here. And I don't want to cut any of these young players. Like, this guy's 25 years old. I'm going to keep some young players on this roster. Scroll through here. There's not. I will say that Chris Olave is somebody that I'm going to want to extend. Not seeing much here. There is a nice function for anybody who hasn't used this. If you haven't used it, you should. Smart suggestions here. And I want to go in to see I'm not going to cut any of these players, who we can potentially restructure. And Chase Young, Eric McCoy, and Cesar Ruiz. And it looks like that's going to open up us to just have enough cap to pretty much be surface level. So I actually want to restructure all three of these contracts. Restructure all. Our cap's still a little tight, 7.1 million here. And the first thing that I also want to do here is extend Chris Olave. Big year last year, 26 years old, one of those Ohio State wide receivers that always seem to be good. Outside of him, the wide receiver room is extremely weak. So I want to keep him as our centerpiece. He has great connection with Tyler Shough already. So let's extend him here. 4-year deal. Now, I want to keep this, maybe see what's realistic here for what he will get paid. So let's go into some of these contracts here. Let's go into the wide receiver contracts on SpoTrack if you guys don't use that. And it's looking like $30.5 million would put him in the same breath as he would make more than T. Higgins. He would make the same as Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm going to pay him T. Higgins money at $28 million. I feel like that's fair for who he is. Let's see here. Save $1.9 million doing this. What if we backload it? What if we front load it? $2027 cap hit, flat. If we did this, backloaded, 2027, 21, 26, 2027. Let's front load this contract. So in 2027, we have more. The cap hit will be $30.4 million front loaded, flat. Let's backload it actually. So in 2027, it's 21.6. Let's extend and restructure this deal. Boom. We have Chris Olave extended out, and he's our guy. The other player that I think would be interesting to extend, just because he's had success, he's a little bit older, 29 years old, and that's Jawan Johnson. I definitely don't want. Let's extend and restructure this contract. Let's add 2 new years. on this new money average per year. Let's go into the tight ends. It's filtering options for me. Dead space. All right, well, it's not going to show me. So screw Spotrac. Let's just go into this. And I feel like $14 million sounds like a lot for somebody like Juwan. Let's extend and restructure this deal. And again, that just frees up a little bit more money, but it also gives us an opportunity to keep some of these core guys that Tyler Shough had connection with earlier on in the season. And another person that I think would restructure his contract, because he said ultimately, like, I'm gonna retire or whatever. Like, I'm not playing for anywhere else other than New Orleans. So I'm gonna restructure Alvin Kamara's contract here. Let's spread over 2 years. I think he'll be fine with that because I think that this is where he wants to be. So let's restructure this contract to give us even more space here. And then there's one other player that I feel like that we should probably focus on re-signing to a long-term deal, and that's Brian Bresee. Let's extend him. And this is another one where I hope this works. Okay. The tight ends are out. We paid him $10 million per year. So Juwan, that's what he makes now. Boom. We're going to keep him around the same. That works out perfectly here. So let's go into defensive line, interior D line. So at the top of the market here, Chris Jones is making 31 million. Milton Williams making 26 mil, 24, 20. Christian Barmore makes 20. Vita Vea makes 17. I feel like $20 million per year sounds about right. Let's give him $20.8 million per year. Cap it in 2027. Costs 4.7 more if we do it flat. Backloaded, front loaded. Looks like even cap hit across all years, which would be $19.4 million. If we front load it, backload it in 2030, it'd be 20. Let's backload this because no matter how we do it, it costs 4.7 million more. So let's extend and restructure. So boom, right away, I feel like we took care of some of our players. We took care of Chris Olave, which is an important piece. He's a young, important piece on this team. We extended Juwan Johnson to a team-friendly deal because he wants to stay here. He has that chemistry with Tyler Shough. And then we have Brian Bresee, 25-year-old first-round talent that we took, and we extended him out to a 4-year deal. So let's continue here. I feel like we have a little bit of cap space to play with, and let's now go into some of these trade offers. Immediately right away, we don't need a tight end, so I'm gonna get rid of these 2 offers. I feel like those are just pointless. Zach Charbonnet would be an interesting offer if he wasn't coming off of an ACL tear, so I'm gonna get rid of that one as well. And I love the idea of getting Garrett Williams, but my question is he worth pick number 73? I probably don't think so. But before we even get into that, I think that there's one player that we're going to walk out of the door this upcoming season for the Saints, and that is quarterback Spencer Rattler. And there's so many teams across the NFL that need quarterbacks, and you have to really think what makes sense. Jets need a quarterback. The Colts need a quarterback. The Arizona Cardinals need a quarterback. Guys who need quarterbacks for as a gap stop that you know that they're going. I think Spencer Rattler is an interesting candidate in all of this because what's possible? You know what I mean? What do people need at the quarterback position, and I think that he's young. He's shown that he could be decent, and I think a team will probably talk themselves into it. So right off the rip, I'm thinking Pittsburgh probably needs a quarterback. The New York Jets need a quarterback. Minnesota Vikings need a quarterback. I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals here because I just think it's the best fit overall. Pick number 3, value. I think probably like a 4th round pick would get this done on paper. And it looks like it would get done on both sides here. So let's offer the trade. The Arizona Cardinals agreed, but reluctantly. So we add a 4th round pick. And now I really think that this is interesting. I want to counter this offer. We probably could have done this overall. I'm going to actually decline this offer because I should have done that in the beginning. So again, the Saints need to get younger. They need to focus on keeping their draft capital. So I don't think trading away for somebody like Garrett Williams makes much sense. So let's go into some free agency right now and let's look of who we have on the block here. And a lot of these are tough. We have Cam Jordan, 37 years old. We have Demario Davis, 37 years old. These guys have been here for a really long time. And you have to sit here and ask yourself, we have Taysom Hill, who's 36, Foster Moreau, who's 29, guys who have been in the New Orleans Saints ecosystem forever. And it's kind of like at some point we have to sit back and rebuild. So we're going to let a lot of these players walk. So I guess where we're at is what does this team need? I think that can we get a wide receiver? Can we get a supplemental running back? And is there a way that we can get edge and secondary? So first, let's just go into wide receiver and see what we have. Not D-Hop. Not Jake Bobo. Love Jake Bobo, though. Devin Duvernay. Man, is this all we have? Oh, there it goes. Marquise Brown. Keenan Allen. Christian Kirk, Gabe Davis, De'Amon Brown, Kendrick Bourne is an interesting one, but again, we want to try to get younger. Jahad Dotson's could be an interesting piece here. Long live Rondale Moore. What a terrible story that was. Brutal to hear. I like the idea of getting Jahad Dotson, former first round pick who hasn't really panned out on the Eagles or the Commanders. Let's just add him into this ecosystem. Let's sign him to a 2-year deal. Let's go below market, 4% below market, and we confirm that signing. So not the flashiest deal, but we do need bodies in this wide receiver room. I think that he fits that mold. Now let's go into the running back room and see if there's a rotational running back that we can get on this team. Obviously, a lot of these guys are going to be sitting at the top that we're not really interested in. Tyler Shough is an interesting piece. Jerome Ford's an interesting piece. Keaton Mitchell, love Keaton Mitchell. Really right away, the one that stuck out to me immediately was Sean Tucker. I'm gonna go with Sean Tucker because he kind of fits that role of, let's go 1% below market. He kind of fits that role that Alvin Kamara plays like for this offense, but he is interesting. He's 25 years old. Every time he plays, he kind of snaps, and I like him. Let's sign him to a 2-year deal. Confirm that. Okay, I feel like, okay, boom. We took care of some running back problems. We took care of the wide receiver, and now let's go edge. Let's just see what's available at the edge position. This is something that I think that we'll take care of during the draft, but is there a piece that we can get that it would be a good rotational piece for us on a cheaper contract? And I like the idea of getting Yoter Gross-Matos, and I think that 3% below market. Let's give him a 2-year deal, 28 years old, played on good defenses. He's not the best player ever, but we need somebody who could be a rotational piece. Now let's go into the secondary. We have $9 million left, not much more money to spend. Is there a rotational piece that we can get here at corner as well? And there's somebody that I really like, and that's Starling Thomas, who can be a nickel for this team. Can we go a little bit below market? Who's going to be a nickel for this team? He was playing really well last year before the Cardinals really just blew up, and for whatever reason that was, and he tore his ACL. Let's get him on a 2-year contract, a little bit of a cheaper contract. Offer reject it. He wants market value. Too bad, Starling Thomas. You're going to come here and you're going to play. So our cap's very tight right now. So let's just continue on here. I feel like we took care of the running back. We signed a rotational edge, and we have something in the secondary here. So now that we go into the NFL draft, I feel like we're going to do first round only, as always, because there's no reason to go through the entire draft. Really, the most interesting thing I think we could do is go either secondary or edge, and let's just see what's available here at pick number 8. And let's start the NFL draft here. So we went, Caleb Downs would have probably been my pick here. Two of the top tackles went, and it looks like we're going to have an opportunity here to either get, one would be Jeremiah Love at this spot, which I could see the Saints doing. Like, let's just build up this offense even more. But really love the idea of grabbing an edge here. So let's grab Ruben Bain. And it is over, and boom, they give me a B on my offseason grade. Cap health, 14 out of 25. Fulfilled needs, 24 out of 30. Future outlook, 10 out of 20. Thought I was setting us up for the future, but clearly not. Roster moves, 25 out of 25. We improved by restructuring 4 contracts, extending 3 players. We traded Spencer Rattler for pick 104 to the Arizona Cardinals. We made 4 signings, headlined by Starling Thomas. We forced that one. In the draft, we selected Ruben Bain as our edge with our first pick. We have a tight cap, but we restructured and added $114.5 million of future dead money risk. So they really don't like what we did here, which is hilarious. So let's redo some of our depth chart here. We didn't sign a backup quarterback. Just realized that's going to be a massive problem down the road, but it is what it is. I like this. I really like the offensive line. What we have at, is there a way to Audric Estime? Jeez, man. These guys obviously aren't going to be here. Evan Hall, Sean Tucker. Okay. I want this to be a rotational backfield with Alvin Kamara and Sean Tucker. Alvin Kamara, obviously, on his last leg. Can Sean Tucker be that type of player that can take the next step? We have Gross Matos. That will be a rotational piece along this linebacking core. And then in nickel, I want Starling Thomas to be either over Isaac or above him. Again, this has a lot of work to do. I was really focused on trying to get some of our core players signed long-term and then taking in a very important position in the draft at edge. So we talked about the future dead money at 11.4 at $114.5 million. Players cut 0, contracts restructured 4, contracts extended 3, trades 1. Free agent signed 4, and 1 draft pick. Again, we restructured Chase Young, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Alvin Kamara. The extensions that we made, we extended Chris Olave to a 5-year deal. We extended Juwan Johnson, added 2 years onto his deal, and then we re-signed Brian Bresee, and we gave him 4 years on his deal as well. The trade that we made, we talked about already. We made it with the Arizona Cardinals. We sent Spencer Rattler to the Arizona Cardinals, and then some of the signings we made. Nothing flashy. A rotational piece at a wide receiver with Jahan Dotson. Gamble on a running back and Sean Tucker. Gross Matos, which could be a rotational / starter piece at the edge, and then Starling Thomas, the 4th, to play a rotational piece in the secondary. And then with our draft pick, we took Ruben Bain Jr. from the University of Miami. So we got they gave us a B on this offseason grade. What would you rank this rebuild for the 2026 offseason for the New Orleans Saints? Let me know in the comments below. We're doing every team across the NFL. Thanks for watching. I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take vision.